Hey, how's it going guys? ZDEyE here. So today I wanted to give you my review on a Ghost of Tsushima Legends, a brand new mode called Rivals. And now it very recently just came out and I had an opportunity of playing a lot of games with it already. And by the way, it's actually is a very unique mode. At least it's nothing like out of the ordinary, but yet it is very addictive. Now it can be very competitive as well, depends who you're teaming up with, right? So basically there is always an opportunity for you to go as a matchmaking, or as an example, right, you can actually face off one of the same players as you. Now everything based off on the key level that you have, but like as of recording this video, my key level is the maximum. Well, not the maximum that's currently available, because the maximum is actually 120 level, but the one I was at, it was 110. So you can actually upgrade by mastery challenges. Basically, you need to kill individuals, so you have to do something specific to rank up your weapons or your items or your gear, in fact. So while you do this, you actually be able to upgrade. Now regarding the Rivals mode, so it's basically two teams of will be completing to defeat waves of enemies, right? Each enemy defeated, you will collect Magatama. I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. So you make sure that you keep collecting them. By this it means you have to keep killing enemies. When you have more than 5 or 10, even 15 is the maximum that you can hold on to, you go up to one of those sculptures or statues, right, and you can have a choice of your own, right? One of them, it could be, for example, you can actually spawn shadows. These shadows will spawn on the opposite side of the team and they will block the way for them to make any sort of purchases, so they would not be able to kind of handicap you, if that makes any sense, right? So in this case, there's a lot of different variations of statues that you can actually spawn. As an example, shadows is one of them. You can also have elder shadows. They are far more tougher opponents for the enemy to defeat. This means that a more chance of you actually keep collecting these Magatama, I think that's how you pronounce it, and you actually will be able to keep putting in these debuffs basically for the enemy's team. Again, it depends what you choose, right? You can choose shadows, you can choose elder shadows. There's also curses. There could be health drain. There can be also exploding bodies, right? Anytime an enemy defeats an opponent or whatnot, that opponent will have an exploding body. This will deal massive amount of damage. There's far more variety as well. There's some kind of blinding effects as well. Like, there's a lot of variety. It's pretty cool. Now, again, that you can actually do on them, they can actually do the same thing on you. So it's important to be aware, and you have to make sure you kill the enemies as quickly as possible. You go through the levels, so you go through the rounds, and you have to make sure that you are able to get to the final round. Now in the final round, what you have to do is simply hold on to the objective. If you cannot hold on to that one objective and the circle simply loads up, if that makes any sense, right, you will be restarting from the beginning. And again, not from the whole thing beginning, but from the beginning where you need to hold on to that checkpoint. If you do manage it, then you'll have only 3 waves of very based and heavy enemies, and there are going to be a variety of them, and also there's going to be those elders coming up, and they're going to be very tough opponents. But again, if you know how to play this game, if you know how to have an advantage of using your swords and skills and your abilities and also your items, you can actually make it. So far, to be honest with you, I have not lost one match, but it's important for me to clarify I've played about 8 matches. My very first match that I had was just a giant bullshit. I played myself versus one other guy, he himself. We had a very tough time. It took us almost 1 hour to complete a whole match. Seriously. Why? Is because we kept dying on a checkpoint base round. So though they're like you by yourself, you have to constantly take care of the enemies by yourself and also hold on to the checkpoint. Because the enemies are very aggressive, and this meant that you have more opportunities of you dying. So me and him kept on dying. You can actually see in the gameplay as well. And finally I managed to pull through because I was actually making sure that I had everything maxed out as I could. I don't have to go on a cooldown or anything like that, and I use my abilities, my items as to the fullest. So luckily as well, like even if we die, we pretty much restart just this one checkpoint. But because of the penalty, we lose this Magatama, and this means that we will not be able to give any debuffs or handicaps towards this an opponent. So we both were trying our best, and I managed to pull through. After the match, I decided, okay, no more 1 versus 1. I'm gonna go minimum 2 versus 2. And I got luckily paired up with 2 versus 2, and that was much smoother and much quicker match. And hell, it was a lot more fun too. So we actually had an opportunity of going as a rank of gold. If you guys do not know, there's bronze, silver, and gold, the ranking of difficulties, but you cannot choose that. It all depends on how much key level that you have. The higher the key, well, obviously the higher the difficulty will be. There's also another rivals, I think it's called Nightmare, but I didn't play that yet, and I don't want to have any challenges because I feel like I already had my fill with this mode already. So I don't see the reason for me to get, invest into it. And perhaps if you're curious regarding what's the main change in the Nightmare mode, obviously all the enemies are going to be far tougher. And also, it's important to clarify that there is extra things that it would be required of you to do. As an example, there are enemies that have different varieties of colors, and you have to make sure that you charge your sword with the proper color if you want to deal massive damage on, those enemies. And of course, this is up to you to decide if you want to play Nightmare mode or you want to go with more different difficulties, right? So again, there's bronze, silver, gold, and Nightmare. But that's not all, there's more. So there's actually cursed items that you can actually gain by complete luck as well, but it doesn't seem like it's very tough to get. So basically for that you will need to make sure that they're not cursed for you to be able to use, to the fullest. So these cursed items, basically you will be able to get rid of the curse by doing some kind of challenges. When you manage to do the challenge, then you will be able to basically you have done this curse, and so you don't have to go through. Cursed items also, if you equip them, this means there's opportunity of you losing something as well. One of the things that I had very difficult time with is a specific curse that I had. It was getting my health drained. So I was constantly on low health and I was constantly dying. So that was a pain, but I still managed to prevail because thanks to my other partner, and he was kind of carrying me in that moment. But of course, when I stopped using this curse, since I managed to, pass the challenge, it was a different story. Since, more the health you have, obviously you will be able to prevail. Like I already mentioned as well, I think I did anyway, there's mastery challenges as well, that's different. Basically also requires you to go through certain challenges. It's not cursed challenges, it's mastery challenges, it's different. So you don't get any of these handicaps or debuffs. And that depends what you're required to do. You need to perhaps kill specific elites, or perhaps you can dismantle specific equipment. There's a lot more challenges towards this. So always there's some kind of a carrot at the end of the stick for you to always invest and always try to find something the best of the things. Anytime when you also complete the mastery challenges, you actually level up your weapon. So let's say your weapon is 110, and by the way, mastery challenges can only be activated when your weapon or your armor or whatnot is 110 key level. When you complete the challenge, you unlock to 2 levels, as I've noticed, and I assume when you keep on completing these challenges, you keep unlocking by 2 levels. So that's always an opportunity. That's how you can get up to 120 key level. It's pretty awesome. There's a lot of unique things in here. Now Rivals also has 4 different maps. As I mentioned already, you need to go through the rounds to get to the checkpoint-based defense system, right? You need to hold on to that checkpoint. A lot of these maps actually have simply, waves of enemies coming in, and you need to simply kill them and, interfere of the opponent's match. And that's really it, in the simplest term to explain. But obviously between that, there's a lot more that's actually going on. And if you would want to ask me, is this actually worth the Legends mode itself? Because mind you guys, I'm only explaining what I experienced from the Rivals mode. That's it. But there's far more. There's raids, there's there's missions as well, and there's even more. So if you want, you have to try out the Legends mode. so it's 100% worth it. Now, personally, I would advise you to get a whole Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut and, to experience the whole adventure, and also Iki Island DLC, and including the Legends mode. Yes, that also I'm talking about the Rivals mode. I've gotten actually 100% this game completion. I'm very, very happy. I will still be playing a little bit more of, but I feel like I may be needed to move on now. Alright, well, tell me down in the comments what did you think about this mode, if you haven't had a chance of playing it. Perhaps you want to give it a shot now, maybe you will later on. Again, that's up to you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. See you guys all and have a wonderful day.